Rob Smith has been with the company for 36 years. Before he was a regional vice president, he was the highest paid earner below regional vice president for 36 straight months. 36 months, the highest income earner below regional vice president. And he said largely because of securities. So even if you don't have a license today, I want you to be thinking, that's for me. You can even say it, that's for me. That's for me, right? So let's give it up. He's going to tell his story and dazzle us all with his skill. Let's give it up for the amazing Rob Smith!
All right. I do not have much time. I've got 10 minutes. And so those of you that know me know that I am not a public speaker. So I told the people in back I'm going to find out who suggested this and then thank them and then kill them. Okay? And then to top it all off, David, they don't have lapel mics. So you get to see me shake. Okay? But listen, I do want to give God all the glory for where He's brought our family and my Savior, Jesus Christ. By the way, Tony said something I just want to adjust. He said the biggest fear for older people is running out of money. The biggest fear of most people is running out of life. And we happen to be standing in a place where there's probably people out there that taught you about that. That's more important than all this, all right? So, anyway, all right. So, at the last event, or the one before, they had me speak about mortgages because we had success there. So, all of a sudden, I'm the mortgage guy, right? For a lot of years, oh, Rob, he's the investment guy, right? And I'm not. I've always only ever been, since the 80s, an FNA guy, okay? The financial needs analysis. It is what makes you sleep at night well, knowing that you've done what's right for your client. You sold them the right amount of term insurance, not 250 grand on term, what do they call it now? Power term, because it was quick and easy. But maybe you got the 800,000 on the primary, 350 on the wife, and 50 on the kids. It was more than they planned on spending, but it's what they really needed. Okay. So I want to encourage you first off to use the FNA. Well, my team doesn't use the FNA. That's okay. It's on POL. You can still get to it. Okay. Use the FNA. You don't want to. How many of you would love to be sitting with a spouse whose husband died? She's got 3 little kids, mortgage debts, and everything else. The husband was making $60,000 a year, and you were delivering a check for $250,000. How are you feeling about what their financial life is going to look like a few years later? So don't be that person. Okay. We say in Primerica, we have for years, that we don't sell products, we solve problems. But you can't really solve the problem without the FNA. I firmly believe that, and I don't apologize for saying it. But it is what? Buy term and invest the difference. So since all the speakers this afternoon are about investments, I figured I'd focus on the opportunity with investments. By the way, there was, as Lori just said, there's what, 142,000 life licenses, I believe? 26,000 investment licenses, but does anybody know of the $1 billion paid in commissions last year by Primerica, how much of it was securities commissions?
75%.
Was it?
75%.
Right at half. So think about it, there's only 26,000 securities reps, 142,000 life reps. So half of all the money that most of us brag to potential recruits, oh man, we paid $1 billion last year, goes to 1/6 of the reps. Why would you keep yourself out of that? Oh, it's complicated. It is no more. Look, how many of you, when you came here, life insurance, your first day, did not life insurance seem complicated? When you went through your class, oh, God, this is complicated. I'm not even going to pass that test. Securities is no more complicated. You did it with life. You can do it with securities in about as much time. But double your income on average. Okay? So, excuse me. Let's see. She said something about there it is, okay, all right. So, by the way, you've all seen the product wheel, right? All the different companies we represented, okay? How much of that wheel is investment companies? Half of it, right? So listen, all the products that Laura was talking about, you know, all the non-regulated products, the Medicare, the Vivint, ID theft, all those are important, yes? Okay? But they pay you $60 or $80 or $100 or $250 for Vivint, right? $150 at least on Medicare. But all the big money comes from term insurance, which will pay you hundreds, maybe $1,000. But securities pays in the hundreds or thousands, or Dave, tell me right or wrong, in the 10,000s. Okay? So, what I want to do here, if I can figure this out. Okay. That, you're not going to be able to see it probably. All right, and I realize that. I was doing this on a plane to Dallas and realized I didn't have the tools to be able to clip it out right. But if you look, my cash flow, total cash is in the far left column, okay? And it was $39,000 in 1999. I'm a regional leader. I've been full-time for 4 years already. Tony said that you can be good at securities and good at building. I haven't figured that last part out that great yet, okay? But I figured out the other part, all right? Not by focusing on securities, but by doing the F&A. I'd sit down with a family, they had money they had to do something with. So guess what? I'd call the Tonys of the world, all right? Or the other folks you're gonna hear talk today, Kevin from Equitable. By the way, he was patting me on the back in the room back there for wearing his shirt, okay? And I told him, I'm gonna tell him, I don't care if it's Equitable, or Corebridge, or Lake Mason, or Franklin Templeton, I don't care. I just care about what's best for my client. And what's great is, when I have a big client coming up, I'll call all of them and ask them, I'm the customer, here's their situation, sell me why I should do what you have, right? And in the process, I learn all kinds of stuff about it, and I also come to the conclusion of what's best for my client. And I don't care who it is, I don't care which one of them just took me to lunch last week, or gave me a polo shirt, okay? By the way, how many of y'all like free lunch? Get your securities license, because no one from life is gonna take you to lunch, all right? Is that not true? All right? Okay. Anyway, so look, it was $39,000 in 1999. It jumped to $50,000. I got my ring, my watch rather. Actually, I got my watch in '97. This is full calendar years. As you know, we get rings and watches and diamonds by 12 rolling months. All right, but it went to 50,000, 2,000. Now, anyone older guys or gals remember what happened in 2000? In the world, what happened? The world came to an end, all right? Y2K didn't kill everything the way they thought, okay? Janet Reno did, starting a few months later, okay? Now, someone said don't get political, but I'm sorry, you can't separate politics and money, okay? So anyway, for 2.5 years, the market went down 55%. Millions of people lost their jobs. Not just an investment business, all right? It was just a whole big mess. And in that amount of time, while most people were losing jobs or having their pay cut, mine stayed the same from 2000 to 2001, but went up 30% in '02. And by the way, the end of that mess was until the very end of '02, okay? And then 64, 75, 2004, we got the ring as regional leaders. But let me tell you what happened the month after we qualified for the ring. I had a client from probably a couple years earlier that I had done an F&A for, so he didn't see me as his insurance guy, he saw me as his financial guy, okay? And he calls me and says, Rob, the doctor says I have to retire. I said, oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. He told me what's going on. He said, yeah, I need to roll over my $840,000. When can you come over? Okay. Now the comp on annuities was a little different back then, but he was letting go of a pension with a guaranteed paycheck, but if he died, his family doesn't get anything. And he loved the idea of an annuity that gave him a lifetime income about as good as his pension, but if he died, his family got everything. That's kind of a no-brainer. The comp was a little different. I made $26,000 in 2 hours helping my client. It was as much as I normally made in 3 months, okay? Now listen, they've changed comp a little bit. That would only pay a district about $16,000 today. I know you'd hate that, right? Now, but listen, one of the things I did that helped me get through all the rough patches, okay, is that when I get a trade like that, what most people do, and the temptation is strong, is to take 3 months off, okay? What I did is I got that and I was like, man, Lord, thank you so much. Now all the stuff I normally do the next 3 months is just extra, and it was extra, right? So we had been paid, I don't know, we broke 400 grand of this in this year. I missed 500 grand by $318 a while back. I know, and I don't apologize because we'd arrived at my grandkids' house. They have 4 little ones, 5 years old and younger. And when we got there, it's like, okay, phone's off. I don't care what happens in the rest of the world. I don't care. And then I realized 2 days before it was too late that I was that close. And I cared suddenly, but I couldn't think of where to get to. Anyway, But listen, this company has paid us, I know it's not the numbers like you're going to hear some of the speakers, but for a guy who's never been much of a builder, all right, by the way, shout out to the Financial Freedom Fighters that are here today. You can yell, all right? But we've been paid $5.5 million in our career. And as you can see, I never broke 100 till 04, so really it's been about 5 million of that in just the last 20 years. And, you know, about 2 million of it just in the last 5 or 6 years. So, and I'm not saying that to boast, okay? The Lord's been good to us, but He used Primerica to do it. And 3/4, if you look at my income, the total securities is on the far right. Of the 109 paid in 04, 3/4 was securities. You go up to, look, we never went below 100 grand. You see that? Never went below 100 grand. Broke 150 in 2007. 169. I was the third highest paid guy at what do they call that? The MIT. Thank you. I was the third highest paid guy at MIT. All right, so I had to speak. That was terrifying. All right, but how much of that was securities? 100,000 of the 169. All right, you keep going up. We broke 200 grand somewhere along the way, 300 grand. We've been at 350 or higher since 2018. But look how much of it was securities. And it's not because I'm a securities guy. I still write tons of life, all right, and mortgage when it's around. So don't be afraid to get your securities license. It's not hard. To me, it was the most commonsensical test that we take. Life was a lot of memorization, mortgage was a lot of memorization, securities was a little bit, but most of it was common sense, okay? So go for it. Don't wait for it. Company's paying for it. I had to pay for my own debt. I don't know what you paid. I had to pay $550 for my securities license in 1994. That's like $1,000 today, okay? So my time is up. I hope you see some hope here for you. Whether you're a builder or not, you can make great money here and you can do great things for people, but get the license and help people buy term and thank you.